Hi, friend. My name is Kayla Yasmin, and we are going to talk about the power of you and the way that you speak to yourself and what you put out, you are destined to get back. Let's get into it. So, I honestly, simply, truthfully, just wanted to talk about the saying where it's like, don't speak to people how you wouldn't want to be spoken to, don't treat people how you don't want to be treated. Those actually, like, they're really powerful, and I know, like, they've been washed over for so long because we've heard them for years. You're hearing the same thing, like, it just sort of gets washed out. But truthfully, I had this thought earlier where I had a friend and I wrote her a little note, and I was just like, you have to talk to yourself with a lot more, like, care, because envision a younger version of yourself. No, specifically, envision the version of yourself that, at that age, you wouldn't want to revisit half of the shit that you went through. And so now imagine that you go like, oh my god, like I'm so stupid, like like, oh my god, I'm so ugly, and like you're joking these negative affirmations. And it's like in high school there's the aspect of, you're like, oh my god, like I'm like, you say things that are so negative toward yourself, and it's sort of like, it's a standard, it's popularized, it's sort of like, it's so common to say it, and you don't realize like how, like, impactful it is to not only you but the future version of you and the past version of you and your present version. So I care for people to visualize that younger version of themselves, that self where it was like, that's a time period that I would not want to go back on. Now imagine you stood in that child's face and you said the things that you're saying to yourself now that are negative. I'm ugly, I'm not smart, I'm worthless, um, I'm not enough, I'll never amount to anything. Imagine this version of you, whatever age you are, talking to that version of you. Would you want to say that to that child? Like, would you really want to tell that version of you all of these negative things? And if your answer is yes, then honestly, you're just not, my channel isn't for you. Sending love to wherever you go, but my channel isn't for you. But if your answer is no, then the way that you talk to them, talk to yourself just like that. No matter what age you are, it's not silly, it's not weird. Like, all versions of yourself, because the whole thing of like, there is no past, present, or future, everything is now. Um, all of those versions of you are hearing how you're speaking to. So imagine you want to be this successful person, you want to be like this high achieving person, and you're like, oh, that's going to happen in the future, that's like 10, 15 years from now. But if you keep telling yourself now that you're not successful and you'll never succeed to anything and you can't accomplish anything and things don't work out for you, how the fuck do you think it's going to like, how do you think it's going to happen for you 10, 15 years from now if this is the stuff you're telling yourself now? Because you know how they tell you, if you don't start now, it's going to be a little more rough in the future. Speak to yourself so kindly. Treat yourself so kindly. Like, again, treat people the way you want to be treated, because what you're putting out there, you're going to get back. And this is what, excuse me, I'm crying. No. This is what, there's a seminar, Bob Proctor. If you don't know, I don't think you've watched any of my other videos, but if you don't know, I fucking love Bob Proctor, okay? Um, and I wish his family the fucking best, because that man, like, I swear, I think he's like a master number 11 too. And so, like, I think he fucking checked boxes, man. So, that's my little praise to Bob Proctor. But in one of his seminars, You're Born Rich, I don't remember which part series it is. I would recommend for anyone watching this to watch the series 1 through 6. Because you'll learn so much valuable information. But there's a scene where they go like, what you put out there you get back, so however much you're putting in now is what you're going to get later. And the same applies of with how you speak to yourself and how you speak to others. When you draw, I don't know what the hell that thing is called. Ugh, I don't know what the little ball thing is, but when you draw it back, either a little bit or a lot, you're still going to get it on the other end. Like, whether it's just a little bit, then you'll get a little bit out on the other end. If it's a lot, you'll get a lot out on the other end. And there's those balls in between. Say you only take one, and what I think there's 5 of them. So you take one, and the 3 of them look like they're not moving, but they are, because the vibration of them is being transferred to then move the other one. But with those balls that aren't moving, that's like the timeline. Like, that's like the versions of you, the different ages, the different events. You might not be seeing it now, but it's going to affect you whether you know it or not. So whatever you're giving to yourself now is what you're going to be producing later. Whatever you're telling yourself now is going to reflect who you are later. You might not see it immediately, but it's going to happen. It's law that it has to happen. Like, it it has to happen. Like, it's literally just one of the, like, universal laws. What you put out there, you get back. Like, that's what it is. So however you're speaking to yourself now, you're gonna get that back, and it's going to reflect who you are in the future. So if you keep speaking low on yourself, that's what you're going to get in the future. Don't expect to be this high achieving, high earning business person if right now you think of yourself as like a piece of shit that'll never succeed, or that you're not skillful, or that you're not creative, or that you, like, if you don't see it now, draw that ball back, and it clashes with the other ones, what the fuck do you think, like, you're going to see it later? So you have to start telling yourself all of these positive things. You have to. And a lot of people think like, oh, it's not that serious, or it's uncomfortable in the beginning. In the beginning, it is a little like, it's strange because you're not used to hearing it. There is literally a program within you that has repeatedly heard the same thing over and 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 over again. It's heard it so many times that of course you're gonna believe it. Like, you hear a song so many times, sooner or later you know all the lyrics. But the more and more and more you listen to it, you start to hear like the little, like, the drum, or like the little, like, the rhythm in the background. Like, you start to identify more parts of the song. So what makes you think, when you keep telling yourself all of these negative things, then you're going to start to see in your life, oh, like, this didn't work out, or this didn't happen, and you start to point out all of the shit that went wrong because you were telling yourself it went wrong. You start to see behind the lyrics. You start to, like, I hope you get what I'm saying, because I don't really know if I can go deeper, but what I'm trying to say is, the more you keep repeating something, the deeper you get into it, and the more it starts to reflect and show in your life. So be aware of what you're telling yourself now. Even if you're saying, oh, it's just a joke, your subconscious mind does not think anything's fucking funny, okay? It actually says, oh, really? And it accepts it just like that. It's like, all right, like, that's what you said. Like, that's what you said. It didn't pay attention to the ha ha ha. It didn't pay attention. No, it's like, that's what you said. That's what you ordered. You know what I'm saying? It's literally like, you go up to a restaurant and you're like, say if you're vegan, you're like, the white chick scene. You're like, I'll take the
I'll have
steak
the steak
smothered in onions.
smothered in onions.
And the whole time you're vegan, but the waiter is writing it down and it's taking it to the chef, and the chef is making it, and then the waiter or runner brings it out, and now you as a vegan has a steak, but you were saying it as a joke. Doesn't matter, because that's what you asked for, so that's what you got. No one's paying attention to the ha ha ha. That's what you said, that's what you'll get. Do you get what I'm saying? As an old vegan, I actually really need to go back to being a vegan. My skin was but either way, pay attention to how you're speaking to yourself, because the way you are talking to yourself is like, it's so beyond important, because all versions of you are listening to it. The tomorrow version of you, the yesterday version, everyone is hearing what the fuck you're saying about yourself. And that's how you're going to move. Like, it's like, the way you're speaking, let me face you. The way you're speaking is like creating your path. Like, your words are like creating each new step. Realistically, every word you're saying, it's like you're climbing up the stairs, and you can only see about 3 feet in front of you. That's the light that you have is like your orb and aura. Energy is so powerful and it's so big, and um it's a lot more powerful than how I'm describing it. But just imagine that like your body and this frequency gives you just enough light to see the step that you're on, or to see just the next step, but you don't know anything that's further. And so whatever you're feeding yourself or whatever you're telling yourself, that's what's creating the next step, that's creating the next level. So imagine just saying, I'm worthless, I'll never succeed, I'm ugly, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm a piece of shit, no one will ever love me, I'm not worthy of love. Babe, you're gonna fall through. You're gonna fall through the fucking staircase because you're only saying negative shit. You have weak wood, okay? You wanna build positive wood. You wanna build the strong wood, and you wanna have a strong mindset because you don't know what's ahead of you. You don't know the next step, but you know you have to take it because you can't stay there. You know you can't stay there. Behind you, the steps are they're falling down, they're crumbling because they don't need to be used anymore. So what's behind you is gone, and all you have is in front of you, and you can't go backwards. And it sucks to stay stuck. Sucks to stay stuck. So all you can do is put this next piece in front of you, and if it's not strong, you can't stand on it and you're going to fall through. So keep your mindset strong. Having a strong mindset, having this like positive thought, like, you know what, this is gonna work out for me. I know like right now it seems like a literal shit show, and I can't wait for this to be over, but do remember there's a law of rhythm, that nothing stays the same. Change has to happen. Literally, this tree has stayed the same my entire fucking life, but it's changed though. Physically, I can't see how much it's been changing, but for the past, I don't know, like 18, am I doing the math right? No, for the past 16 years I've been seeing this tree and it looks the same, but it can't be the same. There has been, the branches have fallen, leaves have fallen off, or like I don't know what type of fucking tree it is, but things have fallen. It has shed, okay? Branches might have fallen off. And just because I can't see it from the one view and perspective that I have, that doesn't mean that it's not changing and evolving. That's another thing. The way that you're seeing something, don't take it as absolute because there's so many other perspectives that you're not seeing it from. You're just, the phone is right here, so I'm only seeing it from this perspective. So if I said there's an apple on the phone, and if you were standing on the other end of the screen, you'd say, there's not an apple. And I'd say, yes, there is. And then when I flip the phone around and I go, there's an apple. And then you go, yeah, there's an apple. And I was like, but you just said there wasn't an apple. And, so it's really depending on your perspective of where you are. So don't take things as complete, like absolute as you see them, because that's just one perspective that you're seeing it from. So keep in like, this strong, powerful, like these positive mindsets. Get a really strong will so you can adapt, so you can know that, say if the next stair that you build, you're not going to be there for long. By having a fucking strong mindset, you'll easily be able to build your next step. And it's like, because things aren't permanent. You don't know how long you'll stand on each step, so you want to be prepared for the next one you'll have to build. And so you need to be prepared mentally. It all starts in the mind. Oh my gosh, the mind is so powerful. Your subconscious is really this fucking massive machine that, if it is not wired properly, like, and if you're not willing to change that programming, I'm sorry, but your shit's gonna be a little difficult. But when you choose to get rid of thoughts and behaviors that you no longer want, that is challenging, but you then get a reward. What's that thing? It's like a reward. Okay. But I hope you get what I'm saying. The way that you speak to yourself, the way that you treat yourself, treat others the way you want to be spoken to, treat others the way that you want to be treated, because you're going to get it right back. Keep your mind strong, keep your will strong, continue to tell yourself things are going to work out. To continue to tell yourself that, this is a big affirmation. I've already used it before, but everything is already working out for me, even if I can't see it. Something stresses you, something's pissing you off, there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of uncertainty. Everything is working out for me, even if I can't see it. Okay, so speak to yourself with grace and gentle and love, because there's a version of you that you would never say that to. You would never speak to yourself like a younger version of yourself the way that you're talking to yourself now. And think about it that way. Every time you're saying like these really negative, nasty things to yourself, envision the younger version of you that really, like, you'd say there's a time period in my life that I actually wouldn't want to go back to, or I don't think I'd be strong enough to actually survive. And I'm so proud of my inner child or my younger self for actually surviving and getting through. Imagine that version of the child, and you're saying all of this negative, hateful shit to it. It's not a joke. It's really not a joke on how you talk to yourself. And people make it seem like it's funny and it's not that serious. It is. It is, because the way you talk to yourself is going to create what you see. Whether you like it or not, babe, I didn't make the fucking rules, but that's really the rules. All right? Again, remember that little fucking, I don't remember what it's called, but whatever you're putting out there, you're going to get it back. And maybe you're not seeing it instantly. Maybe it's like the vibration is cutting through the little balls in between, but it's still going to hit out on the other end. So whatever you're putting out, you're going to get back. All right. So that's about it. It was great chatting with you, and I will see you again soon. Bye, friend.